Okay.
Welcome everyone to the third in our Why Emerge series. My name is Gretchen Hunt and I'm the Executive Director of Emerge Kentucky. We are the premier training program for candidates. We recruit women to run for office and we train them with the skills to win. And we are just so excited to have here today one of our incredible alums, Mayor Beverly Chester Burton. You are a rock star and all that you have done, and more importantly, you have a busy day today and you have taken time out of that really busy schedule to talk to us. So I just want to begin by welcoming you and let our viewers know a little bit about you, where you serve and where you're from.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate being with you today. Basically, I am the mayor of Shively. We're located here in Shively, Kentucky. We are a small city out of 86 small cities within Metro, and we are the third largest of those small cities.
Super. So Mayor Chester Burton, tell us a little bit about you as a young woman, you as a child. How early did you know that you were a leader? Tell us about how early that spark happened inside you.
I think much of it came from just my upbringing. My parents were involved in the community. I'm originally from Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and I would oftentimes see my dad out there doing community-oriented type of events. And so it just kind of just stayed with me and my siblings. In many ways, we're all involved some kind of way within the cities that we live in.
Super. Well, I didn't know that about you, that you were a Hopkinsville
Yeah.
girl. So you've come to Louisville. Louisville's a real different place than
Yeah.
Hopkinsville.
It
Um,
is. I came here by way of attending the University of Louisville, where I met my husband. Um, and from that, I started working on my undergraduate degree there. And I actually completed 2 other degrees from the University of Louisville there as well, in addition to Spalding University, and I attended Western Kentucky University as well. So education, along with community, has been my life.
You are a teacher. You've served with in leadership roles within education. How did you choose to become a mayor? Why did that position appeal to you? And tell us a little bit about your race for mayor.
Well, the journey actually started when I became a city council member. I was city council for 10 years. Actually, I had ran for mayor the year that President Obama ran for his presidential race. And so I did not win that particular time. And I decided that if I was going to continue this leadership journey, that I would once again, I went out there and put my name on the ballot to return to city council, and I won again. And so during that time, I thought maybe it's time to look at some other avenues. And so, being an educator with JCPS, we often get information regarding leadership programs. And so, your program is one that was sent to me via email, and I thought, why not? So I decided to go ahead and put my name in for Emerge Kentucky, and then it all started from there.
Wonderful. We not only train leaders, we train women to step into that really sometimes daunting sphere to run for office. So, you know, part of your story that's so important, I think, for women to hear is that you had one defeat and you got back up and you
That's
ran
right.
again.
That's
What does
right.
that take? You know, it's a lot to put your name on the ballot in the first place. What does it take and what helped you to do it again?
Well, I knew that I had ideas that I wanted to see come to fruition, because oftentimes when you are in a role that you don't really get to see some of the ideas that you want to see come to reality. And so I figured that being in a mayoral position, that I would be able to entertain more ideas, and also have conversations, being able to be at the table to have the discussion on how we can promote the city, promote other leadership opportunities. And so I decided that that would be my next step.
And so many teachers have stepped up. We have a number of Emerge alumni who
Yes,
have run
I
for office, or hopefully
and I
will.
have nominated some of those individuals. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes, just a reminder to everybody. We'll remind you at the end as well, but our application period is open now for recommending women, or if you're watching this and you feel that stirring deep inside you to run, those applications are open right now and will close on November 7th. So you're the first African American mayor as
Yeah.
well for Shively.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that experience, why that's so important, why it's important for others to see you in that role of an executive leadership position.
Well, if you know the history of Shively, many years ago, there was a situation that occurred in 1954 with the Andrew and Charlotte Wade family, which they tried to buy a home in this area and was denied. And so Ann Braden and her husband were very nice in that they helped those individuals to be able to acquire their home. But later, within that time period, their home was bombed. And then, the whole issue regarding racial, separation and all that just continued. And so being the first African American mayor, I think it means that just because you are in one place doesn't mean that you cannot rise to the occasion later in life and change and bring about change in your community.
That's such a beautiful story as well about Shively, your community. And I know how much you have invested in your community and how important it is to you. What are some of your goals and dreams and hopes for Shively in that community?
Well, my main goal is hopefully to try to work with the community in improving our infrastructure. I want to see different avenues that my community could take part in. A lot of our funds go to the East End. I'd like to see them to stay here in the Southwest. We have a wonderful connection with the Southwest Dream Team, which is beginning to um, make programs available, such as leadership programs, available to community members in the city of Shively where we live. I think that during this time, I also want to see, an expansion as far as opportunities for businesses to come in. We're landlocked, and many people know that we're landlocked, but as things begin to open up, that I'm hoping that people will think of Shively as a small city with big ideas, that they can bring their business here and grow from that point on.
Wonderful. And what are the lessons that you've learned leading during both a, hopefully once in a lifetime pandemic and really a national, state, and local reckoning on racial justice? What are some lessons that you've learned or things that you have really tried to do as a leader to guide your community through these challenging times?
I believe if you are willing to have an open mind and have open discussion about what's happening in the world, that people that have been left out of the conversation will be able to have a opportunity to have that dialogue and be honest and be truthful about what the issue is. I think we have to acknowledge that it exists. And when you once acknowledge that, then you can begin to have that conversation and you could begin to put things in place to involve others to have those opportunities that they didn't have before.
So starting those difficult conversations, continuing, we know how important it is when women are leading those discussions. All the research shows that women are uniquely positioned, that once we go into positions of leadership, that we are more likely to work across partisan lines, more likely to focus on issues that are bread and butter issues about the economy, including public education, which is important to you, job support, healthcare. I know all things that you support in your own community. Tell us a little bit, you mentioned being an Emerge, and of course that's part of the reason why we're here today is to tell people, what did you take away from Emerge? We are a candidate training program, so
Exactly.
people with skills. What are some of the things that you took away that were?
You kind of went out there at the end. Can you?
Sorry, what are some of this? I got too fast with the mute button.
Okay.
So what are some of the things that you took away from the program that were most helpful?
Well, the program Emerge is a good opportunity for those that are seeking to find out what the necessary steps are to go into to become a candidate for any race. I don't care if it's city council, mayor, senate, whatever. It gives you the steps that you need from the beginning to the end on making those steps into one day putting those papers in to become a candidate. Now, one of the main things that I enjoyed about it was the whole getting your word out, getting your message out. How do you get your message out? The fundraising, how do you fundraise? How do you solicit volunteers to be on your team? Those are all things that through Emerge Kentucky that you as a candidate or as a participant in the program that you will have, right there at your fingertips, and you have other opportunities to meet current candidates or current elected officials so that you can have that open discussion with them one-on-one, up close and personal.
That's a great summary of our program, and I'm so glad that it did obviously help you continue in your success and your message. What would you say to other women, across the state? You've mentioned you're from Hopkinsville, which is not, which has both rural parts and small city parts. But what would you say to your fellow sisters across the state who are thinking about running, whether they're in urban areas like Louisville and Lexington and Northern Kentucky, or if they're in smaller communities from East and West and South Central? What would you say to them today?
I would say that if you are really an individual that want to get involved in your community, and if there's an ideal out there that you wish could happen, then you could be the person to make it happen by making sure that you run. And I mean, you may not run right away, but it will at least give you the opportunity to explore what your options are. If you know that you have a project that you've been dreaming about that you want to see come to your city, come to your community, you can be that person. You can be the lead on that. You can be the lead in that by being a candidate and taking the next step.
And I love how you talked about being the lead, because what we hear from a lot of women, they are already leaders in their churches.
Mm-hmm.
They're already leaders in their schools, in a lot of volunteer capacities. They're often leaders in their families, both caring for their children and older relatives, and lead in many ways. But we often hear somehow in the political context, well, that's not for me. I like to be behind the scenes. What would you say? What would you say to that?
Well, it's okay to work behind the scenes, but if you really want to get things done and you have people that, if you're behind the scenes, it's fine. But if you want to get out front, then that gives you the spotlight. The spotlight is on you, and you take ownership of that project that becomes reality. So it's okay if you want to have take that back step and help out from behind the scenes, but I would encourage you to think about what it really means to be behind the scenes versus being out in front so that you can take that lead.
Absolutely. And we're at a critical time right now. We have a vice presidential candidate for the first time, a Black woman in that role. What would you say also to women of color across the state who may face some additional barriers in running for office across the state? Barriers of bias or lack of some of the networks that may have existed. What would you say to other Black women, other women of color who are thinking of stepping into this space?
Well, now is the time for our voices to be heard. As you mentioned, we're in a critical time in this world today, not only with the pandemic, but with racial and social justice and unrest. And so if you are a minority that may think that these issues are not of a concern, that they will work itself out. This is the time for you as an individual to get your voice out there and to be a part of the change that you want to see.
And we do recruit women from all different backgrounds, all different ages, all different careers. You know, some people may think I'm at a later stage in my life, I may not want to do it. We have young women who say I may be too young, and our message really is, you know, as you said, this is a time that's so important. I want to ask one question, because I have to think that your career in teaching has helped prepare you as well for politics. So why are teachers really good candidates and really good elected officials? Talk to us about your experiences there that really do translate well in politics.
Well, the reason it translates so well is that I was involved in, and I still am, in my teachers union, JCTA. And so with being involved in JCTA, it gave me the avenue to make connections, not only on a local, but a state and national level. And your union is one that whenever there is an opportunity for candidates to need support, the union is usually going to be the one that's going to get out there and get behind you and push you and help you. And so there were many things that I learned being a union member that actually helped me in the steps of taking that next step to go on to run for city council and then applying for Emerge. And actually, that's the email I got. It came from my union brothers and sisters regarding Emerge. And so from that point on, I started, I guess, on behalf of Emerge, I started talking to other teachers about why you should get involved, how important it is to get involved. You know, there's always a person that will come to you because they know you're involved, so they want you to share the information. So at some point, I said, I need you to be beside me so that we can do this together. And so more and more people became interested as far as educators in running.
And thank you for that leadership. So not only have you led in your official capacity as mayor, but you've also led within Emerge Kentucky to help recruit women and bring them along. And I think we often hear the lift as you rise, but you are doing that. And certainly our unions do that, you know, lift as they rise, in terms of the whole solidarity of all their members. And the unions across Kentucky have been such tremendous partners to Emerge Kentucky from the beginning, you know, believing in us as an organization. We're 11 years old now, but they were with us from the start to elevate women to positions of power. So we wouldn't be where we are now without our union brothers and sisters, as you have mentioned. So we're nearing the end of this time here today with you, and we know you have a busy schedule coming up. What are final thoughts that you would have for women out there or others out there who are thinking, gosh, do I recommend a woman? Should I do it? Is this the year to do it?
Well, I will tell you, I've already started recommending people to Emerge Kentucky, and so you should be seeing their applications soon. But what I would say to them is that don't put off today and put off tomorrow what you can do today, because tomorrow is not promised, as we very well know. So it's now the time that if you have family members or if you have peers that you want to support in some kind of way, you can run and you can become a candidate that's going to support the community, your family, your peers, anything that's going to be for the better good of the whole community. Education, the education system is always in need of some sort of support. So once you have in your mind something that you would like to see become before the community, don't stop. Excuse me. I don't know what that was. Don't stop until you actually get it done, because you are the best person for the job, believe it or not, and never doubt yourself. Just go for it.
Thank you so much, Mayor Chester Burton. You are such a beloved Emerge sister. You have accompanied so many women and our teachers out there, and we just want to thank you for your leadership and wish you all the best in Shively as you continue to lead there with grace and wisdom, and we thank you for sharing all of that here with us today. I do want to remind everyone that Mayor Chester Burton has mentioned our signature program that will begin, my apologies, in January and run through June. And that 6-month program, which is 70 hours, is a training program for women, Democratic women who want to run for office. And applications are open now. If you want to nominate a woman to apply for the 2021 class, or you yourself want to apply, those applications are open and they will close on November 7th. There are a few other ways that you all can support Emerge Kentucky and our mission of getting more Democratic women from diverse backgrounds into elected office across this beautiful Commonwealth. One simple way you can do that is to follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So definitely check us out. There will be more Why Emerge interviews going on with other alumni and other women who are connected to Emerge. We have upcoming information sessions if you want more information about our training program. And lastly, we couldn't do this without our supporters and our sustainers. So if you feel moved today by what you have seen and you want to see more women like Mayor Beverly Chester Burton trained and serving in office, please consider becoming a monthly sustainer at a level that is doable for you, that helps us to grow and expand. We are a network right now of over 250 women trained across this state. We have many alums serving in office, many more on the ballot, but we want to continue to grow this network. So thank you again, Mayor Beverly Chester Burton. It's been a pleasure seeing you as always, and thanks for everyone for tuning in today.